they're constantly showing her sex scenes with this guy, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever, but I think they were better off having me do that instead. So, you know what I'm saying? Come into a TV near you. You see what I'm saying?
Good luck.
What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with the Power Book 2, Season 3, predictions, rant, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to call it. Before I get into it, I'm just going to take a quick look at the new trailer. And then after that, I'm going to just give my thoughts on all the characters from Book 2 so far, leading up to Season 3. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright. Okay. No, wrong car, idiot. What are my thoughts? Okay, I'm going to start off with Tariq. I'm going to do a little bit differently, and I'm going to start off with the nigga that I hate. Okay. First of all, they end this trailer with his grandma saying that, you know, you're just like your father, and then Tariq goes and says, oh, you know, I'm not like my father, I'm better than him, I'm smarter than him, right? Now, ironically enough, I went through, I just recently watched the entire, all 6 seasons of Power over the last few months. So I would say between December and February, so between December and now, I literally went through, you know, all 6 seasons of the original Power because, again, the show was just that good. And it really gave me an opportunity to really cross-reference, you know, Tariq with, you know, Ghost, you know, his father. And I really kind of paid attention to, you know, the comparisons that people are constantly making on, you know, as far as like the two of them are concerned. And let me just start off by saying, Tariq is nothing like his father. Tariq and Ghost, they have nothing in common whatsoever. First of all, Ghost was somebody that he actually cared about people, and he wanted, you know, the people around him, you know, to be successful, and he tried his best to put everybody in a position to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Tasha, you know, it was Tommy, it was Dre, like a lot of these people, Ghost at one point tried to help them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ghost actually tried to help them. You know, freaking Rashad Tate, Proctor, and all of these people ended up doing Ghost dirty or betraying him in some way, shape, or form, or they didn't have his best interest as much as he had theirs. And, you know, by the time Ghost really stopped caring and he wanted to leave everybody behind was when everybody tried to kill him, because they couldn't stand the fact that he was actually going to, you know, become something other than what they were used to, because everybody was comfortable with Ghost being a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want Ghost to become a politician and to actually become clean. So, what does this have to do with Tariq? Tariq, the difference between Tariq and Ghost is that Tariq doesn't have the same weaknesses that Ghost had, because Ghost did have some weaknesses. And Ghost's only weakness was his family, particularly his son. Because despite all of the bullshit that Tariq has always done throughout this whole entire freaking show, Ghost still had a soft spot for him because that was his son. That was his only son. So I think out of all 5 or 6 people that was closing in on him at Truth on the last episode, he didn't think that Tariq was actually going to go through with it. You know, I think, you know, when Tariq was constantly threatening Ghost, saying, yo, if you put your hands on my mother one more time, I'm going to kill you. I think he felt like, you know, my son is just talking shit. He'll never actually do it. You know what I'm saying? In reality, no, his son actually did it. So, in essence, Tariq doesn't have those weaknesses because Tariq only cares about himself. Tariq only cares about himself. Because think about it. Everything that Ghost ever tried to do, as far as, you know, his family was concerned, he wanted better for them. And in fact, Tasha and what's her name? What is his sister's name again? What is Tariq's little sister's name again? Oh, what is her name? I gotta pull over to the side. What is the sister's name? The little girl that be looking confused all the time. Yo, all right. What the fuck is Tariq's little sister's name? Oh, Yasmin. Okay, yeah. It literally just came back to me. Okay. So Ghost had it set up for Yasmin, Tariq, and maybe even Tasha to be living a regular, normal life. Because everything he's trying to do right now, according to him, he's trying to live a normal life. Like, you know, I don't understand, because it's not like he doesn't know where his mother is. If he could find, if he really wanted to find his mother, he can do that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know, the point that I'm making is that Tariq is not a good person, and Tariq is, I would say Tariq is a bit more cutthroat than his father, because again, he was raised to be a spoiled brat. You know, he ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Literally everybody's life, you know, that comes in contact with Tariq always ends up getting worse as a result of him being there. You know what I'm saying? Because and one thing that they mentioned in the trailer is that, you know, like about Lauren and him wanting to learn the truth. Like, first of all, Tariq, stop acting like you give a fuck about Lauren dying, first of all, because this dude was pretty much, you know, juggling 3 different girlfriends, you know, simultaneously throughout, you know, season 1 and season 2. And then when Lauren died, when he found out that Lauren died, when Sax told him, the next day he was fucking Effie. So how much did you really care about Lauren when you was already fucking, you know what I'm saying, the girl that Lauren told you was a bad influence on you, you know what I'm saying, the next day? You didn't care about her, bro. So, like, any emotional display or anger as far as what ended up happening to Lauren at the end of the season, it's all fake. You know what I'm saying? It's all fake, and it's kind of like a character contradiction, because, like, he didn't care about her, in my opinion, because, like, if he really wanted, you know, Lauren to get out safely, he wouldn't have trusted Brayden to do it. Because in season 2, Brayden already showed Tariq multiple times that he can't be trusted and that he could be flipped. Because if he was that loyal, he would have been like, yo, Tariq, you know, Effie is plotting, you know, for me to kill Lauren, and I just want to let you know, because, you know, I broke your trust before and I don't want to do it again. So he's stupid for trusting Brayden, who already has close ties to Kane, who is pretty much one of Tariq's enemies. So it's all his fault. Like, he can't get mad at Brayden and Effie. You're the one who allowed, you know, them to do it pretty much. So I think clearly that scene where Tariq is like, he's in the suit, and then he's standing over, I guess, like, whatever, like, law firm or some shit, you know, saying whatever that's at, probably like Wall Street or something. That's probably gonna be at the end of the season. And my biggest issue with Tariq as a character, mind you, Michael Rainey Jr., he's a great actor. Okay, he's a good actor. You know, for me to be able to hate him this much, so clearly there has to be something there. They don't ever raise the stakes with his character. So, meaning, he never has any consequences for the fucked up shit that he does. And clearly he's going to make it out of season 3 unscathed, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to really, you know, go through anything that's going to make, like, you know, people actually say, damn, yo, Tariq is actually going through it right now. Like, Tariq never suffered any consequences between season 1 and season 6. You know what I'm saying? Because he got Raina killed, and then he lied about it, and then no one ever held him accountable for the fact that he got Raina involved in the first place. So, and I feel like it's not really the characters that are babying him, it's the writers on that show that are babying his character for whatever reason. Like, you know, them producers, you know, 50 Cent, you know what I'm saying, whomever them showrunners, they definitely love, you know what I'm saying, Michael Rainey Jr., because they never, again, make his character suffer at all. Like, he's only gotten his ass whooped one time in book 2. You know, he's got punched in the face a couple of times, but that was pretty much it. And then when it came down to him and Mecca, the writers literally made it so that way Tariq was more powerful than Mecca. So when Tariq was in the room with arguably the most dangerous character on the show, that, you know, Mecca pretty much couldn't do anything to him because the writers set it up that way. So I'd like, you know, at some point, if ever, for them to actually hold Tariq accountable for all the shit that he's done, because they did it to Ghost, you know. So they got to do it to Tariq. They got to do it to Tariq at some point. Kane. I would say Kane is one of my favorite characters on the show, if not, you know, my favorite one. But my problem with Kane is that Kane, he needs to start thinking more, and he needs to start, you know, he needs to start operating, you know, like a thinker than, you know, moving off of emotions and how he feels. Because I say this a lot, like, it takes nothing to, you know, feel emotion, and it takes more effort to really think and to think critically. You know what I'm saying? What makes Tariq better than Kane from a character perspective is that Tariq knows how to think his way out of, you know, sticky situations. Kane doesn't know how to do that, and a lot of times the situations that Kane finds himself in, it's because of his emotions. It's because he let his emotions get the best of him. And the thing is, you can't do that in the business that you're in. And a lot of times Kane has had to have his mess be cleaned up by other characters, you know, like Monet and, you know, his brother and sister and stuff like that. So I think Kane needs to start using his brain more if he makes it out of this season. And he needs to get rid of that inferiority complex that he has for Tariq, because I think it really stems from the fact that essentially he was replaced by Monet for Tariq a bunch of times. So, and what I mean by that is every one of Monet's kids has a different relationship, you know what I'm saying, with them. And what I mean by that is, so Monet has Drew, Diana, Kane, and Zeke. And what's funny, if you take a look at them, they all had, you know, different relationships with Monet. Like, they all had totally different relationships with her. So they were all treated differently by her. So, and Kane, I would say he's the one that Monet kind of cares for, like, the least. You know what I'm saying? Because he said to her in book 2, he was like, yo, Ma, like, what if this comes back on me? And she was like, yo, like, you made your decisions. It is what it is. She would never say that to Diana. She would never say that to Drew. She would have never said that to Zeke, but she says that about him. And it got to the point where he felt that, you know, she cared more about Tariq than him. And I think that had a lasting, you know, impression, you know, on his confidence and his, you know, on his self-esteem as like a drug dealer, as a person and whatnot. So I hope that he could really, you know, realize his own potential and, you know, kind of get out of Tariq's shadow, you know, in a way. So I hope that'll happen in the future. So that's my thoughts on Kane. Drew, all right. Now here's my biggest issue with Drew, and I'm gonna keep it brief. Okay, I'm gonna keep it brief. They need to stop making Drew like the tokenized gay character on the show. Alright? And that's been my biggest issue with watching that damn show. And you know, y'all let me know if you feel like, if you agree. But it's like, you could be watching the show and you can look at your phone on one of the episodes, and then as soon as you look to your left, you look back at the TV, it's another infamous Drew and Everett scene, and then, you know what I'm saying, like, Drew and Everett are constantly doing their thing. Now look, if you roll that way, that's fine, but as far as like this show, Drew has the potential to be literally one of the dopest characters because of the way that they're setting him up, because Drew is a good balance of, like, he's literally like, he is what balances out the Tejadas. And I would say out of all of them, including Lorenzo and Monet, I think Drew is the most level-headed out of everybody, and he has the most potential, even more so than Kane, because Drew is a thinker, you know what I'm saying? But they don't allow him to be that, you know what I'm saying? They spend more time, you know, like showing him as Everett's fucking boyfriend than Drew Tejada as a character. It's like, yo, like, he's gay, we get it. All right, we get it by now. Like, we don't need, you know, 10, 15 freaking love scenes to know that this nigga's gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, let him just be, you know, who he is. You know what I'm saying? Without it being like mad forced. You know, that's my problem with it, because I think what I want them to do is to expand on his character and really showcase, you know, who he really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, who he could actually be without, you know, Everett having to be a part of that all the goddamn time. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, they need to kill Everett. I will say that. In order for Drew to become who he needs to become on this damn show, they need to kill Everett. He's got to go. You know what I'm saying? Everett He's got to go because, frankly, I'm tired of their scenes. I think they're a waste of time because think about it. You don't like Tariq doesn't have to constantly have love scenes with Lauren and Effie and Diana. Like we get the point. You know what I'm saying? And I think they do this shit. You know what I'm saying, on purpose to like desensitize people to that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's like if you roll that way, fine. But in terms of character, storytelling, and all of that. You only need to do that shit but once or twice. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, every time he get a text from Drew, every time he get a text from Everett and shit, we already know what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm already getting ready to, like, skip the scenes because I don't need to be seeing that shit. And the same goes for, like, Sax and his freaking girlfriend. Like, I don't need to be seeing that shit, like, all the goddamn time because it literally just gets in the way of the point that they're trying to make, especially with these characters in their relationship. So I really hope that Drew can become something greater than the tokenized freaking gay character on the goddamn show, and Everett needs to die. So that's my thoughts on Drew. Monet. Now, Monet, and I said this in my last rant, and I still feel that way now. Like, if I had a mom, like if I could build a mom from scratch. There are a lot of how should I say like qualities about Monet and character traits that I really appreciate about her. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Monet is like she's a really strong mother, and I like the fact that like when push comes to shove, for the most part she has her kids back no matter what, and she doesn't back down to like strong male figures. So when it came to Mecca, she stood her ground. When it came to Lorenzo, she stood her ground. When it came to Davis MaClean, she stands her ground. When it came to that stupid ass white cop that was trying to that used to mess with Carrie and had Zeke in the station, she didn't back down to him. And it's like I would want my mom to ride for me like that will always have my back. Like she's like that lion that I could just sick on anybody because I know since she loves me that much. But I feel like Monet, her biggest downfall is going to be the fact that she be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like Monet, she be lying. A lot like Ghost, and I said it before, Monet is a lot like Ghost in the sense where her downfall is going to be her family. You know what I'm saying? Like I think her, like, whatever it is that's going to happen to her is going to stem from her family. Because, like, look at it. Like, your husband, essentially is your family. And Lorenzo was the one who ended up killing Zeke. Your family, it be your own people. It really be your own people that will, do you dirty and shit like that. And, I see that happening to her, towards the end because Diana doesn't like Monet, and clearly has gone behind her back multiple times, to do a whole bunch of shit. Because she was the one that went and got Lorenzo out of jail, and she didn't tell Monet about the shit. She was the one that went in her stuff and found the birth certificate for Zeke and put her on blast. She was the one that did that. So I think her relationship with Diana is going to be highlighted in this season, and those two are going to come to blows. Whether and I think what's going to happen is Diana is going to I'm going to talk about her next, but Diana is going to definitely. Or Monet is going to push Diana out in some way, shape, or form because their relationship is not going to be the same after that. You know what I'm saying? And because we didn't really see them interact that much after she exposed Monet, but they can't go back to the happy family and stuff that they tried to do. Prior to that. So that's my thoughts on Monet. Diana. Now I will say. That Diana is, hands down the most attractive girl on the show. And if a woman were to ask me my type, I would have to say Diana because she's just, damn, she just look good, man. But anyway, I love the actress on the show. I think she does a wonderful job, portraying her character so beautifully and attractively. And she's just, yeah. So anyway, so I like that Diana is really kind of stepping up and, finding, herself, and not letting her, constantly be in, you know, Monet's shadow, you know, if you get what I'm saying. You know, so she's not afraid to stand up to her mother anymore, you know, and because she wants to go to school, she wants to do certain things with her life, and Monet doesn't support that. And it's just like, yo, even if that's your parents, that doesn't mean that they know what's best for you. So in order to do that, she has to do those sorts of things that, you know, will get people to kind of feel that she's a snitch or she's a bad person. I don't think Diana's a bad person. It's just that she's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, where she's coming from in terms of, you know, having to, you know, stand up to Monet and things like that. So I think, like I said about Monet, I think Diana is really going to come into her own and step away from the Tejadas and really, you know, be her own person. You know what I'm saying? Because people have to have an identity outside of their parents, outside of their friends, outside of their family, and really kind of forge their own path. And Diana's really doing that in a great way. And I like, you know, how the gorgeous Latoya Tonadeo, I like how she, if I pronounce her name right, I like how she, you know, like artistically displays the growth and maturity of Diana between season 1 and season 2 and going into season 3. She's gonna do that very well. Now, I don't appreciate how they got her, you know, fucking the what is whomever this random, you know, Tyrone, you know, looking black guy. I don't like how, you know, they got her, you know, saying fucking this dude, because in all of the trailers, they're constantly showing her sex scenes with this guy, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever, but I think they were better off having me do that shit instead. So, you know what I'm saying? Come into a TV near you, you see what I'm saying? Davis MaClean. Now, I will say, I really enjoy Method Man on this show. I think he's a really great actor. And I see him not being as, you know, untouchable or clean cut as he's always been. You know what I'm saying? I think they're setting him up with him and Redman, or his friend, whatever his character's name on the show. But I see them, you know, setting him up to get into some type of trouble, because apparently, I guess, his past is gonna get exposed. And I think Sax, freaking Boss Sax, is gonna portray him in some way, shape, or form. So I think in the next season, in addition to him having to constantly work with the Tejadas and him being their, you know, I guess go-to, you know, lawyer and stuff like that. Yo, this nigga keeps. But yeah. So I think, you know, Davis MaClean, it's not gonna work. So you know what's funny? You know what I think might happen? Because the building or the office that Tariq was standing in, that shit deadass looks like the law firm that MaClean works in. Or if I'm not mistaken, I might be bugging out, but you know, with the way that Method Man was like, yo, you make a good lawyer one day, I wouldn't be surprised if like he may have taken over the business or some shit. You know, I don't know. But I could definitely see that happening. So shout out to Method Man for killing his role on the show. I think it's dope that he's following that path of being the you know, for being that next rapper guy to you know, become an actor and to do it well. That's the thing, because you know, not a lot of these you know, musicians and shit like that can actually do that shit well, and Method Man, he does it really well. So shout out to him again. Effie. You know what's funny? Effie is a pure example of something that 50 Cent said about his own son, where he was like, if it rattled like a snake, if it slithered like a snake, is it a snake or do you need to be bit? You know, and Effie is the type of person where it's like, no matter what she says, you can't trust her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's not somebody that can ever be trusted, especially after how she snitched on Tariq at Choke, which he deserved that shit, by the way. But it's like I can't trust her. You know, like I'd be fooling myself to think that I could ever trust a chick that you know constantly betrayed me, you know, multiple times. You know, and what she did to Lauren, like, I understand why she had to do that shit, but, and I don't blame her, because again, snakes do what snakes do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fault the dog for barking. So Effie is just doing what she's always done, because that's just the type of person that she's always been. So it's like, I can't say, oh, Effie is a bad person, or, you know, be mad at her, because this is the thing. When Tariq finally does confront her about it, yo, you knew she was a scorpion when you picked her up multiple times. So if you keep getting stung by the same scorpion or the same snake, what does that tell you? So I think with Effie, you know, it's really going to come back to bite her in some kind of way, whether it boils down to law enforcement, because we did see her running away from law enforcement, you know what I'm saying, on multiple, you know, occasions and stuff like that. Well, what the fuck am I saying, on multiple occasions? We did see her running from law enforcement. I think, yeah, like I said, so, you know, Karma's gonna come back to get Effie, and I hope Karma comes back to bite Tariq, Effie, you know what I'm saying, you know, the people that deserve to be, you know, whatever. So, you know, it's gonna come back to bite Effie at some point, because I think Lauren didn't deserve to die, because Lauren was the only character on the show that was actually innocent, and she really had no idea who Tariq was and the type of stuff that he was actually, you know what I'm saying, really into. And the thing is, it also, Effie killing Lauren had just as much to do with jealousy and her wanting Tariq all to herself, and the fact that she got Brayden and Kane on the wire. So she was doing that, you know, to X out her competition, you know what I'm saying? And that's how she did it, because when she came back into the room after she killed her, she looked like she was overwhelmed with guilt and remorse and shit like that. So that's what I'm saying, like, you know, the shit that she does, you know, is gonna come back to bite her, and I hope it does, because, you know, again, Effie to me doesn't look as good as Diana, so, you know, if she dies or goes to jail, too bad, so sad. Oh, Lorenzo. You know something? Ever since Lorenzo, yo, shut the fuck up. Ever since Lorenzo got Kane beat up in the jail, I never looked at him the same since then, from like a parenting father, you know, perspective, you know, and I never really liked him that much, you know. Oh, okay, no one's standing there. I never really liked him. And listen, I never liked Zeke, you know, because I was always jealous of the fact that he got to play a role like that and got to mess with, you know, Carrie Milgram, who, again, she honestly was the prettiest woman on that show, you know, other than Diana, in my opinion. Because to me, it's Lauren, Diana, and Carrie. To me, they're all like the most attractive, you know, women on the show. So I was always jealous at the fact that he got to. Oh my gosh! Right X. Yeah. So I was always jealous of you know, Zeke and shit, because he got to, you know, fuck her and stuff like that. But Lorenzo killing Zeke, in my opinion, that was pretty messed up, and I think that I would have rather seen Zeke go out another way than that. But again, that just goes to show how irrational, you know, Lorenzo is, and where Kane actually gets it from. So if you want to get mad at Kane for doing things out of emotion, then you gotta get mad. You gotta hold Lorenzo accountable for the stuff that he does too. So I see a lot of karma coming back to bite the characters on the show, and it's probably going to start with Lorenzo, because that funeral scene, some people are saying if it's not Zeke that's in that casket, it's Lorenzo, probably, because you do see him getting, you know, beat up in the trailer. So a lot of that power that the Tejadas have they're not really gonna have that in the face of whomever this, you know, black lady Connect is or some shit like that. Whoever this lady is, I think she was the person who was above Mecca. So it's like Mecca was at the top, but then he had somebody above him. So she was like, oh, do you think you can replace Mecca? So she's going to hold these people accountable because they were the ones that killed Mecca. Because Mecca being gone, that's going to throw off this woman's business. So it's going to force all of them to have to take over whatever it is that Mecca was doing. So, because Mecca was Lorenzo's supplier. So that just goes to show how small, you know, Lorenzo and the Tejadas were in the grand scale of whatever this drug marketing business thing is. And in fact, Mecca told Kane, he was like, I'm a part of an international drug distribution chain or some shit like that. And this woman was, you know, I guess, you know, probably at the top of the chain or close to the top. So, yeah, so she is going to pose that next threat, you know, whatever that is. Brayden. Yeah, you know, I don't like Brayden. I don't like his character. I don't like his personality. I think he's a weak character. How can you be loyal, again, to Tariq, but then you could be flipped at any given, you know, notice by, you know, Kane or Effie? So, essentially, Brayden is a follower. You know, Brayden is only going to, you know, be as strong as the person that he's following, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's always looking for somebody to follow. He's always somebody's sidekick. If you know that killing Lauren is wrong, then nobody should be able to talk you into doing something that you know for a fact is wrong. And I don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't think for himself. It's like he could be swayed. And I wouldn't want to be around somebody or in business with somebody that is constantly, you know, being swayed by, you know, one person or the other. So I think Brayden, you know, I think him and Tariq are going to get into some sort of altercation stemming from what happened with Lauren, which, you know, neither of them can fight, but, you know, I just don't see things, you know, panning out for any of the characters, you know, particularly Brayden, you know, as in, you know, in any way, shape, or form. How long has it been? Yeah. So anyway, those are my thoughts on all the characters leading up to season 3. Please be sure again to like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I apologize if these thoughts were very unconcise because they were. Peace.